You're tuned in to the Foxboro BeatCast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, is Kaleb McChesney and Ryan Moore.
Hello and welcome to the Foxboro BeatCast, everybody. I'm your host, Kaleb McChesney. Alongside me, my co-host, Ryan Moore. Ryan, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good. Obviously, you missed last weekend, but we got you back. The Patriots obviously came back on Sunday night and they dropped to 0-2, losing to the Dolphins 24-17. The scoreboard, I don't think represents the game accurately. The Patriots were often down by 2 possessions for most of the game. Obviously made it tight at the end, but there were highs and lows and everything in between, and we'll cover it all here. And obviously, just to open this episode, let's talk about the Patriots versus Dolphins game. I think the Patriots played pretty well on both sides of the ball. I think they did a lot to keep Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in check. You didn't see any of those deep bombs, and the one deep bomb I saw, Christian Gonzalez picked off. So that was a big plus for me, and they stayed in the game for most of the game, to tell you the truth. But like I said, they were obviously down by 2 possessions for most of the game, and Raheem Mostert ran all over him. But if you're gonna give up one thing or the other, I think I'd rather have Raheem Mostert do his thing over Tyreek Hill scoring 200 yards and 3 touchdowns on your head. But 0-2, we're still not feeling great. But Ryan, let's start with you. What are some of the takeaways that you had from Sunday that leave you feeling optimistic or pessimistic moving forward? And what are your biggest concerns, and how can they be remedied? Not just next week, but for the rest of the year.
So I'll start with the optimistic. And the optimistic would have to be Christian Gonzalez. He did a real, you look at how Tyreek Hill has treated a lot of secondaries over the years, and Jalen Waddle it's the madness and badness combination there. To effectively lock both of them up and minimize any sort of damage from them. And, last week as well, he did a really admirable job against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think we got a star here. And we initially thought, okay, it might be a little bit rocky. There might be some moments where maybe he gets rinsed a little bit as he's kind of going through the motions in the NFL. I don't know. I'm thinking as it continues to go on, he's going to get even more confident, even better. And obviously this is not his final form in the slightest. I think we got ourselves a superstar cornerback. Unfortunately, the negative, though, and something I'm really concerned about, is the O-line.
Yeah.
They were not good at all. And unfortunately, I read this stat. This is, I believe, his time to throw or whatever. Mac Jones is 33rd in the NFL amongst all starters for time to throw. That's not good.
No. And we knew that O-line was going to be a concern coming into this year, but I think it's been worse than any of us really could have thought. And especially when you get Cole Strange and Mike Onwenu back in the starting lineup. And while you do that, you don't have Trent Brown.
Yeah.
Who just got a new deal of $2 million more in incentives.
That's the get your ass in the field contract. Want to make some money? Get back out there, man. We need you. You know what? Speaking of Cole Strange, outside of the funny little lateral play and all that, he almost got the first down. Whatever, it probably was a first down, honestly, but he was not good. There was one play in particular where he basically blocked nobody. He let a couple Miami pass rushers just get a free release on Mac. It's just like, dude, you were a first-round pick, man. If this is what we're getting from a first, there were a lot of discussions about whether he should have been or not. That's irrelevant at this point because you spent a first-round pick on the guy. Clearly, you view him as a first-rounder. That was atrocious. I don't know how to feel about Cole Strange. I really don't. I don't think he's any good right now. And it's really disappointing that, this is a guy you spent a first-round pick on, and he's still just making abysmal decisions out there. I don't know. It's not looking pretty. lots of interior pressure given up. And that's Mac Jones's that's the one thing Mac Jones can't have is a pure pocket passer. It's not like he's like a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type, right? Where
Although he did make that one nice play to throw the touchdown to Henry, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good play. It was but can we expect Mac Jones to consistently do that?
No, not without hurting himself.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gonna get himself killed. And I know last week, Philadelphia, like Jalen Carter and Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave and stuff that's not a fun pass rush to play against.
No.
And in Miami, you got like Christian Wilkins and stuff crushing through the interior, and Bradley Chubb and all of them. But I expect a little more resistance. Come on. I don't, we knew what we were coming into with this O-line this year, but I want to see at least someone step up and say, step up, protect the fucking quarterback. Is it that hard? I don't know. It feels like, it was like watching the 2015 Broncos game where it's kind of like Max just getting no time to really, get into his drops and shit. It's just all pressure.
What if I told you that the Patriots have the lowest amount of passes from under center through 2 weeks?
That's an indictment.
And maybe 4 of those are play actions.
Yeah.
I know I heard this stat yesterday. I remember it being lower. I feel like the guy who was talking about it on Patriots Unfiltered was saying, yeah, from under center, the Patriots have 4 passes and one of them is a play action or something along those lines, where they're very much in single digits of passes under center. And I think it's 1 or was either 1 or 4 play action passes from under center.
Yeah, it's not great. And that's probably what New England should be focusing on, really, is that stuff. Obviously you need your shot. I'm a big proponent of shotgun passing, but if you can't balance up your playbook, that's off. You're gonna have a one-dimensional offense, man, and it's brutal. The O-line needs to get their shit together, and if they don't get their shit together, the season's gonna get torpedoed. As much as it sucks to say.
I think I'm with you. One more thing that I would mention that would makes me kind of pessimistic is Christian Barmore. He's not doing a lot out there. He's got a lot of energy, but he's missing tackles. He's not doing anything really special like we all hoped he would, and coming into his 3rd season now. I heard this comparison, and I don't like it, but it's pretty accurate. Christian Barmore is the new Adam Butler.
So
high energy,
busy
but
nothing player.
Yeah,
he's really busy, but he does a lot of nothing.
Yeah, and we obviously want a lot more out of our 2nd round pick out of Bama. Isn't he a Bama kid?
Yeah, he's a Bama guy. Him and Mac Jones.
And
that one too.
And Barmore is just, I don't know. I feel like I saw a lot of things to be happy about in his rookie season. And then in 2022, it hasn't been a lot. And in 2023, we're still not seeing a whole lot. I mean, Keon White is outshining him at every single time they're out there. And these are the 2 guys you probably want to build your interior line around when Lawrence Guy says see ya, and you lose your veteran pieces. But I don't know, Barmore, it's a red flag for me right now. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, he hasn't really been all that impressive post rookie year. And it's really a shame because I thought after his rookie year, I was we got the next Chris Jones. That type of just rare interior pass rushing dynamo that is unblockable. But since his rookie year, he's been just underwhelming. He's fine, but I don't want fine. I want
Butler and Malcolm Brown were also fine.
Yeah, Malcolm Brown was a fine defensive tackle, but I don't want just fine. I want if you're a pass rushing dynamo, I want you to hit the fucking quarterback. Get out there and crush him, cause havoc in the pocket. And he's just not doing it at a consistent enough level. Occasionally, you'll see a flash or two where it's just like, oh my God, Christian Barmore has arrived. But it's just been bleh.
Another thing I'll mention: have we seen Josh Uche at all in these first 2 weeks? Has he done anything? Has he sacked the quarterback or anything?
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna probably fight the coaches for not playing him during a contract year.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, our guest last week actually mentioned that if he was Josh Uche, he'd be really upset right now. But I'm like, Keon White's kind of outplaying him.
Yeah, Keon White's the better football player.
Keon White sets a better edge than he does. Keon White is consistently in that backfield. I mean, he's outplaying Barmore and Uche at like both their spots.
Wouldn't it be crazy to say, because like I count Judon as an outside linebacker more than Ian, that Keon White's our best defensive lineman?
I think through 2 weeks that's a fair assessment.
Yeah,
like excluding edge rushers, yeah. And Keon White's also a good edge rusher. Yeah, not as good as Judon, but he's a solid edge rusher. He says that edge a lot better than Josh Uche does. Yeah. And again, you see him in that backfield almost every single time he's out there.
He kind of reminds me of like I made this comparison like when they drafted him, but like I'm starting to see like maybe he's like a 110% version of Trey Flowers.
Yeah.
Where mean edge setter can cause havoc. Great pass rusher, like damn good draft pick, man. Just a really good player.
So far, we also said the same thing about Barmore in 2021.
Right. But granted, him and Keon White are the same age right now, right?
Yeah, Keon White is a little older.
Keon White is a lot more polished, and I expect a lot, Barmore was a younger draft pick, right? Junior year kind of, declaration. Keon White played like 5 or 6 years in college, so he's a lot more polished. I think Keon White's going to be a lot better just in general because he's way more developed, really, to tell the truth.
And then one more pessimistic note that I have. Our run game is non-existent.
Trash.
And you know why? Because we're not running it under center either. I don't feel like we're under center that often. And that's not Ramondre Stevenson's game where you just hand it off to shotgun and like let it happen.
Neither Zeke's.
And neither is Zeke, right? Where the hell is Zeke? There's another thing. I mean, I don't want to say we spent a ton of money on him. I think he was like what, $4 million?
Yeah, cap hit's not that high.
But what were we excited about when we signed him? Like it's Ezekiel Elliott. It's 2016. I had him on my fantasy team back then. I played it with him in Madden. Like Zeke's the guy. Zeke is Zeke, and just this whole, I don't want to get into this Michael Felger rant here, but where is he? What are we doing? He took like what, 4 handoffs last week? Didn't do anything with them.
Once again, though, like, it kind of comes back to you got 2 downhill runners and you're playing them like it reminds me of when the Philadelphia Eagles in 2015 signed DeMarco Murray after he had that legend, like amazing year in Dallas, like an incredible year, best running back in the league type season. And then they used a downhill runner like it's a spread option offense type. Like, no, you got him there to crack skulls, not like he's not a finesse runner.
Pretty much ended DeMarco Murray's career.
Yeah, it destroyed him. And then they had to like move off him after like a year to like Tennessee.
I think he had 1,000 yards in Tennessee one year. Then he was cooked.
Way better scheme fit for them.
But so our running game, I don't get it. I don't get what we're trying to do here. Do we just like not have faith in our offensive line to run block? And if that's the problem, then you really need to get on it.
We're boned.
Yeah.
If that's the problem.
Because listen, I'm the biggest Mac guy out there. I think most people can attest to that. You don't want Mac throwing 50 times a game. That's not his game, and you're putting him in a really bad spot if you do that. You
don't want any quarterback throwing 50 times a game, honestly. You don't. That's
not sustainable. It's not sustainable. And I think we're lucky to have, both games be one possession games, with Mac Jones throwing 45, 50 times a game. I think you're really lucky. And maybe that's a testament to Bill O'Brien coming in, fixing them up, and making them look like a starting NFL caliber quarterback. Maybe that's Bill O'Brien's credit, but I'm like, we need to be running the ball a lot better. Yeah. We just do. Ramondre, I love him. And I think he has great talent. He needs to put it out there. Zeke, I know he's probably cooked, but can we find another complimentary running back on the roster? I mean, you see Ty Montgomery, and Montgomery's not anything. Do we call up Kevin Harris and maybe take a load off? I would love to see that. I would love to see Kevin Harris develop a huge role. I would have loved for it to be Pierre Strong, but obviously we moved him for Wheatley, and I haven't seen him.
Yeah, it's not good, man.
It's just, I mean, it comes back to like all the bad personnel decisions we've made over the last couple of years. Like the bad drafts are really starting to show now.
They started to show in 2020, quite frankly, when you had basically, and there were some opt-outs and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. But you were a cap crunch team and you had very few cheap talent to kind of come in and save the day.
Cheap talent you got was off of free agency and everybody else was trash, and you're trying to make it treasure. And it looks a lot better when you have Tom Brady willing a team to 10, 11, 12, 13 win seasons every year.
When you have the greatest football player ever, it takes a lot of stress off you. But you can't, and obviously we'll talk about it. I don't know. We should be ripping into personnel decisions right now if we really like, because we could spend quite literally like an hour talking about how.
That's going to be a lot of off-season content too.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at spot track and over the cap and stuff. We're like, really? This is the talent we have booked for next year?
Yeah. I think we have a lot of cap space at least. I wonder if
we always do, and then we have to re-sign our trash because it's better than the trash that's out there.
Well, no, we'll give another Jonnu Smith type another $12 million a year or some shit for them.
I really wanted Jonnu to work out. I loved his talent in Tennessee. I really did.
I was really excited for him too, and then they just didn't use him the right way.
I think we're starting to see a little bit of what we thought we were going to see with Jonnu, with this Hunter Henry Gesicki tandem, which I love. I think that's the best part of our offense. Something that makes me optimistic. Our tight end usage is amazing.
It's great. Hunter Henry is
a touchdown magnet, like I said he would be.
The same amount of touchdowns in 2 games that he had all of last season. Yeah,
I love it. I love our tight end usage, and I love the tight ends we have. I love Hunter Henry. He's a touchdown magnet. He's always been a touchdown magnet. And Gesicki is like another receiver out there. But we touched on it a little bit. Let's dive right in here. I have the Mac Jones conversation up next. Yes, I do. Yep. There's another Mac Jones segment for you all because quarterbacks are the most popular thing to talk about. I don't want to know if I want to say we. I don't know if you co-signed what I said, but the page took a little bit of heat Tuesday morning when I talked about Mac Jones. To recap what that post said, you can go look at it on Foxboro Beat on Facebook. I think I speak for most of us when we say we want Mac Jones to be our quarterback of the future, and we've seen flashes of that capability. But Jones hasn't won any of these games in crunch time when he's given the opportunities. Both games this week and last were winnable. Mac Jones had the ball 2 times in the Eagles game to win the game. We didn't do it. I think we had the ball 3 or 4 times in this Miami game to go down and tie it, and we didn't do it. While the losses aren't all on him, there's obviously a lot of issues. Like we said, the pass rush, the run defense. We could go on and on as we did, but it's up to Jones as a first-round quarterback to elevate the team beyond the shortcomings, like we see with, even not the Tom Brady's of the world, but I mean, you look at Matt Ryan or Kirk Cousins. Both of them have done, and these are comparisons to Mac Jones coming out of college. He could be Matt Ryan, he could be Kirk Cousins, and Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins, for all their faults, for everything bad about them, they both come through in crunch time every now and again. And maybe this is an unpopular take in Patriots land, but I said it to you after the game, and I'll say it live here just so everybody knows I'm standing behind it. Jimmy Garoppolo would have this team at 1-1 or 2-0, given those opportunities. Why do I say that? Not because Jimmy Garoppolo is Tom Brady, and I love him to death, because I do. I love Jimmy Garoppolo. But Jimmy G, more often than not, if you give him more than one chance to put the ball in the end zone to tie the game or win it, he usually does. I don't think that's a factually incorrect statement. I mean, we go back to 2 years ago, 2021. Jimmy G had the comeback against Cincinnati, that fourth round dive to put the game away. He had it against the Rams in week 18 or 17, whatever it was, to push the Niners into the playoffs. And we saw it week 1 versus Denver when he was in Vegas. He had that 8-yard rushing scramble to ice the game. Jimmy G's got a clutch gene. The only reason he hasn't won the Super Bowl because he isn't talented enough. He doesn't have that Brady accuracy or that Manning IQ or that Rodgers talent. But Jimmy G has a clutch gene. He will perform in the fourth quarter more often than not. I'm not saying every time. That's why you're giving me a weird look. But Jimmy G, more often than not, is able to pull through games like that. And Jimmy G would have this team at 1-1 or 2-0.
Just ask Emmanuel Sanders about Jimmy Garoppolo's clutch gene.
I mean, it worked out in one game in the regular season. People forget about it. He threw a 56-yard bomb against the Rams to ice it in that regular season.
Yeah.
Obviously, the reason the Niners didn't win that Super Bowl isn't all on Jimmy Garoppolo. While there is
like poking fun at Jimmy because of you.
While there is a little bit of fault because Jimmy's got to hit that. He's open in the end zone. You got to hit it. Shanahan should have run in the ball the whole game. It was working.
Yeah.
But as I said,
arrogance.
More often than not, Jimmy G is able to put that game away. Mac Jones hasn't done it yet. I don't think I've seen him put a game away. Most wins we have are by, double digits, more than one possession. And obviously everybody knows the stat. The Patriots are like 3-12 when losing in the fourth quarter. If their opponent scores more than 24 points, we don't have a win. Everybody knows what I'm running through here. And I really hate to just shove it in people's faces because I'm just as miserable about it as you are. And you are just as miserable about it as everybody else. But that being said, as I've laid out this conversation for you here, let's discuss how can Jones elevate himself as the guy? Because right now we're still very much unsure 2 weeks into year 3. What can he do? And what are some reasonable expectations, not only for this week against the Jets, but the rest of the year? Because I think 2023 is going to pretty much represent what we have in Jones. And by January, we'll know what we're supposed to do. So what can Jones do for you, Ryan, and for me? Maybe not so much for everybody else because there's obviously a crew of Never Mac, put in Zappy, and there's the crew of Teflon Mac. Nothing ever is his fault. I think we're somewhere in the middle. But for you, Ryan, because I think you're a little bit lower on Mac than I am on that spectrum. What can he do to make you think, okay, pick up his fifth-year option, let's continue?
Okay.
I hope I laid that out as crystal as I possibly could.
I think with Mac, there's a couple variables here we need to consider. One, he needs to understand that this is where I get on guys like Josh Allen, for example, with decision making. Mac, just because you can make that throw in college against a guy that's stocking shelves in the future or working insurance, doesn't mean you're going to make that throw against Xavier Howard. Now, what throw am I talking about? I'm talking about a throw where Xavier Howard was clamping up Devontae Parker on the sidelines, and you're lobbing it up, hoping Devontae Parker does some 98 Randy Moss stuff. Dude, that's against one of the best defensive backs in the league. That's one of the best ball hawks in the league. What are you doing? That's in crunch time too. Holy shit, man. Like I looked at that and I'm like, that's something I would do if I was drunk playing Madden. And you're out there doing it in a real football game. You're not a superhero. Understand your capabilities. That's the first thing Mac needs to do. And this is his decision making has been kind of just bleh. It's very bleh for a guy that needs to be an elite decision maker to get the most out of his abilities. Because you don't have the requisite arm velocity and arm talent, I should say, to get away sometimes with those, poor decisions that.
And I think a lot of it too is, I don't want to interrupt you because this is your point, but something I want to add just to make sure it doesn't go unnoticed is knowing your personnel too. Yeah. Devontae Parker is not T. Higgins. No. He's not winning those 50-50 balls.
That's not even a 50-50. That's like a 99-1 for Xavier Howard.
Well, yeah, because Parker didn't even have inside leverage.
No, that like I said, that's something you do if you're drunk. That's not something someone soberly makes unless you have terrible decision making abilities. If you want to be like a Josh Allen and throw dumbass throws and cost the game, dude, you're not good enough to do that. You're just not. You're not you're not physically talented enough to get away with that.
That's not your game, right? That's not his game.
Yeah, you need to. For Mac Jones to really unlock it, he needs to understand that you need to be. I hate the term game manager sometimes because he needs to play point guard football. So I think point guard is more accurate than a game manager.
Yeah.
Understand that you're there to distribute the ball. Make smart decisions. Don't put the ball in harm's way. Don't be a Russell Westbrook. That's not your game. And as much as I hate this player, be like a Chris Paul or a Rajon Rondo.
Everybody loves Rajon Rondo.
Yeah. Who doesn't love Rondo? Come on now.
Lakers fans.
Not
even who doesn't like Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo? Chris Paul.
Rajon Rondo. I got a ring and you don't.
Yeah. And I got two and you'll never have one.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he needs to play that type of game. Or like a John Stockton. And people think it's an insult to call him a point guard, but no, it means you're an accurate, smart distributor of the football. Those guys can win games for you, quite frankly. They can. Look at we talk about Garoppolo, right? When Garoppolo's at his best, he's a point guard.
And he wins football games.
There, in San Francisco, get it out there to Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, whoever.
Nowadays, Devontae Adams and
now in Vegas, like Devontae, Jacoby, Waller's not there anymure. So
Jacobs,
Mayer,
Austin Hooper. He loves Austin Hooper. The Raiders game I watched, he fucking loves that guy.
Well, because Hooper's a pretty smart tight end. If Mac wants his fifth-year option picked up, cut the bullshit with decisions. Second off, and this is really important to note, as we talk about the O-line, right? You're gonna become punch drunk eventually if you keep getting hit. If you look at what happened with Eli Manning, for example, at the end of his career, that was a guy that was punch drunk because he just kept on getting smoked every single game. And he was seeing, Sam Darnold. I'm seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
If the O-line doesn't step up, unfortunately, Mac's decision making is only going to get worse before it gets better because he's going to feel hurried, and yeah, the weapons aren't great enough, but if you're not protected, you're just going to make shittier decisions after shittier decisions. And it's going to get to a point where we cannot have you as the quarterback because you're actively harming the team. And it doesn't matter how bad the O-line is, you yourself are a lemon as well. and I don't like using the term lemon a lot because it's more for washed up players. But if you can't just do it, like I said, well, you look at Sam Darnold, right? That was the guy who got his career ruined because he got punch drunk early. Because he
Thank
kept
you,
on
Adam
getting
Gase.
hit, he kept making poor decisions, and you know, he never got out of the sunken place as a quarterback. And now he's basically just a career journeyman, unfortunately. And it sucks because that was my guy. But
I
you
really
know,
want him to play in San Francisco. I really
so
do.
do I would love to see his redemption, but that's it. Unfortunately for Mac, that's looking like the reality unless Christmas miracle comes around. The Patriots O-line turns into like the 2014 Cowboys O-line or whatever, or the Eagles O-line or the Chiefs O-line or something like that, where they're just the brick walls.
Yeah,
I just don't see it now.
I think he needs to pull out these games. At the end of the day, both games you went into the fourth quarter down one possession with a chance to tie or win. And each time. And I don't know why we haven't done it. I don't know why we haven't done it for 3 years. For 3 years, we haven't been able to come up with one of these games.
Well, you know what I also say about Mac, though? Sorry, I'll have to interrupt here, though.
Go.
I don't know if he has the arm strength to make big-time throws. And what I mean by big-time throws is velocity rippers. There were plays against the Eagles where I saw a play where Darius Slay kind of stumbled. He got back up and still made a great play on the ball or whatever, because Mac he doesn't put enough juice on it. And that's what really differentiates like the Brady's in the world from like Mac and stuff like that, is like Brady's velocity is one of one. Arguably the fastest, arguably the best fastball in NFL history. Like when he really puts it all into it. Mac doesn't have that. Mac doesn't have a fastball. It's more like a slider, more like a changeup, curveball, whatever the hell you want to call it. And when he pinpoints it and he throws a beautiful lob pass, he's excellent at those. But he doesn't throw good fastballs. It's like an 85 mile per hour when you need to be more like 99.
Again, not to bring it back to my boy, but even Jimmy G has a pretty quick release, and
Jimmy can fucking rip it.
Yeah, I mean,
every once in a while.
Kendrick Bourne, when he first got here, he's like, yeah, when you catch one from Jimmy, it's like catching a bullet. When you catch it from Mac, it's like catching a pillow.
Yeah, and that's not. But that's the thing as well.
It's not a shot at Mac either. It's just
it's different styles of throwing the football. Yeah. Now, I always made this argument: if Mac Jones got drafted by the 49ers, he'd be killing it.
Oh,
because it's a fair weather climate, and it's more tailor made for his game. New England needs guys that have cannons for arms, and I don't think Mac. Once again, barring a Christmas miracle as well, and this is where I don't think Mac will be I don't think he's the future of the franchise, and I want him to work out. I do, but I don't know if he fits the New England Patriots. And I think the New England Patriots as well might ruin the guy before, he even gets out of here on, his rookie deal. And I hate that it has to come to this. I do. Because ideally
you think it's a foregone conclusion 2 weeks into the year?
I think it's a foregone conclusion based on the past 3 years. And the reason why I say that is I remember the win game versus Buffalo, right? Buffalo was letting Josh Allen throw it. And, obviously New England won that game.
Yeah,
but ideally, you don't want to see your quarterback ever throw 3 times in a football game. And that's due to a kind of a lack of faith as well in the arm. In the sense of sure, the climate really fucking sucks. But you're in the AFC East. The climate fucking sucks in general, especially when you get into the winter. It's not like it's freaking, sunshine and like rainbows and stuff in, December in Gillette. It's not sunshine and rainbows in December in Buffalo. It's not sunshine and rainbows in in New York. It is sunshine and rainbows in Miami, but it's also humid as shit down there. So that's a different kind of element after you're practicing in the cold and stuff. They need a guy with an arm, and I don't think Mac has that arm. And I hope Mac if they do move on from Mac, I don't know if they will. We'll see. If they do move on from him, I hope he kills it wherever he goes. But I don't think it's. And I'm gonna put my foot down and say I don't think he's the future in New England.
Like definitively 0% chance.
It's 95%. Like,
so you're done.
I'm kind of done, barring a Christmas miracle.
Are you done in the sense that you'd play Bailey Zappi tomorrow?
No.
Yeah.
Because Zappi's job is. I'm more done in the sense of I think they need to look in the draft for a guy. I would allocate resources and go try to trade up for like a Drake May or something like that.
So you wouldn't trade Mac tomorrow. That's the.
I would trade Mac tomorrow. Yeah.
So you trade Mac tomorrow, but you don't want to play Bailey Zappi.
Oh, you know what I mean by that. I would trade him in the offseason, I should say, not tomorrow.
Okay, so finish the year.
What's up?
So finish the year.
Yeah, finish the year, trade him. And like I said, unless Christmas, like a Christmas miracle happens, and like, hey, maybe his arm, like all of a sudden you see Mac just hitting seam rippers and fucking, he's throwing like 60 mile per hour balls.
He did that in college.
Yeah, but
his arm was there in college.
What?
His arm was there in college.
From time to time, yeah.
He had better velocity in college than he does now. And I don't know why that is. I think maybe a part of it is because he had Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as his coaches last year. And maybe because it was his rookie year, he was acclimating to the process. Again, I am putting zero stock into 2022. There is nothing about 2022 that I'm even going to look at for a reference. There was nothing good about that year offensively. Absolutely nothing. And it starts with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. I really can't hear anything else.
Yeah.
Because I'm throwing that whole season away. We're basically in Mac's year 2 for me. Because year 2, really, there's everything about that. And if you put it in context, like you can look at that stat sheet like some idiots do, and like, oh well, Bailey Zappi put the offense in fucking 24 points twice. Mac Jones only did it once. Bailey Zappi threw for 200 yards. Da, 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 da. Like you know which graphic I'm talking about. You know which stupid graphic I'm talking, and that stupid narrative. But if you put it into context, Mac had nothing to work with. Absolutely nothing. From coaches to players to the faith of the organization. None. So 2023 is my year 2 for him. And I've said it. We're going to know by the end of this year. And because of that, I am holding out hope. I am not giving up like you are. 2023, by January, I will know. I will have a confident opinion. Right now, I don't think there's enough, and I still like what I see. I still like what I'm seeing on the field as a player. I think he's accurate. I think he's smart, aside from the 1 or 2 dumb mistakes a game, which is no foreign object to me in my fandom for Jimmy Garoppolo. But again, I think you make a point about the velocity and whether he needs to rip it a little bit. I think he can. I don't think he had the plays last year to set it up. And obviously right now, I think they're still trying to figure it out a little bit. But I don't think there was a whole lot of opportunities the last 2 games to really rip one.
Just the point about the velocity, though. And I do wonder, you did bring up a fair point at Alabama. He did have a little more juice. Maybe Max should put some weight back on. Because he lost a lot of weight. I might not. Mac, but think about it, right? Like some guys kind of need that. Like look at for example, like Ben Roethlisberger, right? That was one big motherfucker, but you know what? That weight really helped him.
No, obviously Mac is only like what, my height, like 6'2", 6'3".
He's like 6'2".
Not the
like
tallest guy in the
like
world.
230 or something. It's not bad. I'm not saying like get fat. I'm saying put like muscle on, like, because he really leaned out, but I think he needs to be bulkier. Like, I look at like what Patrick Mahomes is. Obviously, like, he has nowhere near, but like Mahomes' build is like a 6'2", 230, and it's all muscle, like built like a running back type shit. Like, that's what Max should try to strive to be. If like I said, and that's where the Christmas miracle part could come in, right? Maybe he bulks up and he actually develops some velocity and stuff. But
even then, I'm not even the velocity thing isn't even on like my top 3 for him. My number 1 is win a clutch moment.
Well, yeah, absolutely. He has not been clutch, but I think all of what I said factors into like why he's not clutch.
I just don't
think about it.
I'm
right?
not sold that he has the edge. Like, I want to believe he does.
Well, the mental is also.
I want to believe that he can pull out a win, and I don't think it's all physical. I don't think it's all talent that's holding him back, because like I said, Jimmy G, not the most talented guy in the world, but he still wins 8-9 times out of 10. His record as a starter is impeccable.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's a lot of it's decision making. A lot of being clutch is just making the right throws and stuff. Like, you look at, I'll use an example. This is coming from college, obviously, but anyone that watched the Colorado State game, look at what Shedeur Sanders did on that final drive.
Of course.
All the great decisions. Yeah. Look at any vintage Tom Brady drive. All great decisions. When you're in that moment, you can't panic. You can't, you got to just keep it ice cold. And I think Mac is starting to become punch drunk, where, you get beat up too much and your clock heats, speeds up or whatever, or it slows down, or you just, what I mean? It fucks up your mental timing. And so therefore your decision making gets much worse as a result. Like I said, your talent isn't good enough to get there, and it just leads to bad decisions in the clutch, bad decisions in general. It doesn't lead to anything of good substance. And I know he put up decent stat lines the past couple of weeks, and
the stat sheet says he's incredible. I mean, he's like third. He's like third or fourth in passing yards and third or fourth in passing touchdowns, and I think he leads the league in attempts.
Yeah, and that's cool and all, but I don't
like. Sometimes. I'm not going to give Mac Jones the stat sheet check mark because like suddenly not give a shit about what Bailey Zappi did. Like, I don't care about the stat sheet for Bailey Zappi just as much as I don't care about the stat sheet for Mac Jones.
Yeah. And the thing is, for any Patriots fans that want Zappi, if you thought Mac Jones' arm was bad, Zappi's is like 75% of Mac Jones' arm. And that says a lot.
No, listen. The only reason Bailey Zappi was on the active roster week 1 was because Matt Corral had found himself on the back of a milk carton.
Yeah.
Like, Bailey Zappi wouldn't be here if it wasn't for circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not good, Patriots fans. That's why I think they need to draft. They need to look in the draft for a guy. But I would look at packaging Mac Jones and like a lot of draft picks to go up and get someone. And that's just how I feel, unfortunately.
But I will present Patriots fans with optimism, since you're a negative Nancy. I'm kidding. Listen,
I want to be optimistic about Mac Jones. I do.
They just do it like
15th overall draft pick on him.
Then drink the Kool-Aid like me, okay? Me as the unreasonable Mac honk here, as I love my mediocre quarterbacks, as I've been accustomed to having. I think that's a trait I have now. But listen, it's by no means over for me. I think that as long as we can see that he can actually win these games, I'm good. Like I said, last year was a fucking mulligan. 2022 didn't happen. Just like 2007 didn't happen. I think once we get a win or two in these fourth quarters, and we're going to have opportunities. Believe me, it's not going to be this week because the Jets are going to hand it over to us. We're going to get to that later. But you're going to have plenty of opportunities this year to pull out a win. You got big games against the Cowboys. You got big games against the... We don't got the Ravens this year. We had them last year. What division are we playing? The West? Yeah, the West. You're going to be able to go to Denver. And I know Denver is not super talented, but they've kept in every game. The Raiders, they beat you last year. They're going to have you in some weird spots. What NFC division are we playing this year? The East? Yeah. So I see the Cowboys. The Giants, I know they haven't come out hot, but they had a huge comeback against Arizona last week. And I know it's Arizona, but the Giants they got capabilities of having a good team, and Brian Daboll is a fantastic coach. You're going to have opportunities to pull out these comeback wins. You're going to have plenty of them. You gotta pull them out. You can't go out like last year, 8-9, win the games you're supposed to, lose the games that you could have had but didn't. Like, you can't just beat up on the Zach Wilsons of the world and expect to go to the playoffs. Beat Miami. That's another one. You're going to have another chance against Miami. Win in Miami for once.
Yeah.
I think I've laid it out. I think coming out in these clutch situations, and that's going to involve the things you talked about. That's going to involve a better decision-making. That's going to involve upgraded mechanics to really get some oomph on that football. It's going to come with better personnel play, better offensive line play. The receivers maybe play a little bit out of their element, but Mac Jones's job as a first-round quarterback is to elevate these guys and bring them to a place that they haven't been. And ultimately, that's a harsh expectation. I get it. I get why Patriots fans are so defensive because Mac hasn't had great circumstances to come into the league. The Patriots haven't invested in him like the Eagles have invested in Jalen Hurts. They just haven't. But Mac's job as a first-round quarterback is to elevate these guys to places where they aren't usually. You see it. You saw it with Joe Burrow in his rookie year. His rookie year and the year after that. The Bengals had no business being as good as they were on offense, and he's elevated them.
On his second year.
Yeah. The Bengals had no business being good.
And that, if
AFC title game last year.
This is the thing we got to remember, right? These are young quarterbacks that Mac is young. He's still impressionable. I think he just turned 25, right?
Oh, I don't even know if he's that old.
The thing is you cannot ruin these guys before they even get, take the training wheels off. And this is where we look at like last year, right? They've ruined it. Like, quite frankly, like that was one of the biggest blunders ever.
Oh God, Mac Jones is 25. Interesting. I thought he was younger than that.
Yeah, he's like late 98, like September 98, I think. Yeah, you can't basically like expect someone to swim when you throw them into the deep end right away. Like,
yeah, Dad. Kidding.
You're drowning him. Like, I look at last year and I think I know you want to write it off, right? But I think that was a pivotal year in the sense of
the Patriots screwed it up. That wasn't Mac's fault. That's why I'm not.
They might have fucked his career just off last year.
I don't think that.
I think they.
I think 2020. Really I think 2023 is going to tell you whether he was any good or not.
Because I look at like a lot of quarterback draft busts and stuff, right? And I don't think Mac's a bust. He's not a bad enough quarterback to be a bust. Before I clarify that, but your second and third years, right? And, you look at the two of the 2018 guys, for example, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen. Sam Darnold's second year in the league. Who do the Jets hire? Adam Gase. Career ruined. There, that killed his career. Josh Rosen, second year, gets traded to, for obviously this first year was a disaster in Arizona because that was a disastrous football team. Second year, what happens?
It's a
Traded to
poverty
a terrible
franchise.
Miami team.
The
Looks like
poverty
shit.
franchise. Arizona.
Yeah. Arizona's they're an embarrassment. And these are two guys whose careers were over before they essentially started. And I look at Mac and I get really concerned that in that second year, I don't want to say his career is over, but they really fucked his development to a point where he might just stagnate. 2021 might. How do I put it? Like, it might drastically affect his ceiling as a quarterback.
Okay, yeah.
You know, to where maybe he just levels out as an okay player. Like,
and as I've said, 2023 is going to tell me if that's true, or it's going to tell me that he was never that good anyway, or it's going to tell me that we got something. We're gonna know then. I don't know now. I'm not confident to say that I know now.
And to end it, just my stance on this, I want to be wrong in the sense of the Patriots put all their eggs into the basket for this guy as a 15th overall pick. You know, I would prefer if Mac Jones, because I like the guy. He seems like a good dude. You know, players like him. He's a hard worker, all that stuff. Blah, I could say a lot of positive about him. But I just don't know, and I think history is more on my side, and I want him to buck that trend. I do. Where guys get ruined before they could even, get the training wheels taken off. And it sucks. It really does suck. And if he is permanently ruined or whatever, or like drastically altered, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge should not ever, they shouldn't, first and foremost, be working offensive roles. Those two should not be working in the NFL again if they completely botched his career.
Bill Belichick should be maybe fired if this is botched. I know that's a weird.
If the Patriots are in tank for Kaleb conversations by like week 9, week 10, that will be a good conversation to have about Belichick.
It's already happening, dude. I don't know if you've caught Twitter lately.
Oh, dude, they are laying into Billy, man. They are laying
I don't know if you keep up with our good pal Chad Finn on Twitter, but he is not pleased about the conversations of firing Belichick right now.
Like I said, it's
a reactionary take. It is.
It's a reactionary take, but I also do think if you are, I don't know if fire is the right word. I don't think they'll ever put Belichick through that humiliation of firing him. It'll be a
mutual parting of ways.
Yeah. Bill Belichick steps down as head coach or something like, They would be one of those type things. I think if you're in tank for Kaleb conversations and stuff like that, and the team looks like absolute dog shit. Just a joke.
Which admittedly is unlikely, but
it is unlikely. Then I would really entertain those fire Belichick conversations, because at that point it's just like, okay, you might have lost your marbles. It's time to go. It's time for a change here. You gave 23 years of coaching here, 6 Super Bowls, but sorry, man, the future is now.
And like I've said, to just wrap this up, I will not definitively say it's over week 2, and I don't think it's going to be over week 3. I don't think it's going to be over week 4, one way or the other. I'm not sold, but I'm also not really entertaining this idea that he might just be cooked, because I need to see more. I saw a lot of things I liked week 1 and week 2. The stat sheet, again, I don't put a whole lot of stock into it, but numbers say he's playing better. I know the eye test is still iffy. Let's see over the course of this week. Beat the Jets, obviously. Got the Cowboys the week after that. Beat the Cowboys in Jerry World. You're gonna make a believer out of a lot of people.
Yeah, I think you're fair. I think it's fair. I don't know. I'm at a point where I'm out.
No, you do know. You feel that you've seen enough.
Yeah,
you gotta say that confidently.
I think I'm at that point. Like I said, it's a 95 to 5 for me. Like I'm leaning way heavier towards I don't think he's the guy in New England.
I'm still very much in the middle. We'll see.
That's
but
fair.
we had a big week 2. We had a big week 2, not just for the Patriots, but around the NFL. Let's reset our thoughts real quick. We got some weird teams at 2-0, the Falcons, the Commanders. A lot of weird ones in there. There was obviously the devastating injury to Browns running back Nick Chubb on Monday night on the same knee that he tore up in college. What was it, 5, 6, 7 years ago?
That was in 2015, so 8 years.
8
That's
years
one
ago,
of the
Jesus.
worst.
But
that's what Nick Chubb suffered 2 of the worst leg injuries I've ever seen, man. That sucks so much.
And the Giants' struggle season kind of continues. But Ryan, as I rudely interrupted you to finish up my script here, what were some things around the league this weekend that caught your attention and will be worth looking at going forward?
I would have to say, man, I am a bit concerned for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And the whole calf.
We talked about it a little bit pre-show. Go ahead.
Well, so obviously we know about the calf strain stuff, right? And we know what happened with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, throughout training camp, was dealing with a calf injury. The Jets kind of were like, we'll keep it, we'll let you still practice and stuff like that, but that's no big deal, right? Well, first game, obviously we know the story, tears his Achilles. Boom, out for the year. Maybe his career is ruined. Who knows? Maybe he retires. Joe Burrow sat out a month in training camp or whatever after a calf strain. He's come back. He has not looked good. And the reports are that he's aggravated his calf injury again in the loss versus Baltimore.
And when he first hurt that calf and we saw the video, we said, "Oh, he tore his Achilles. He's done."
Dude, when I saw it, just a little context, because Kaleb and I are in the same dynasty league. That's my dynasty quarterback right there. That's my face of my franchise. And I watched that video. I'm like, fuck.
How do you think I feel anytime Tua takes a hit? But go ahead.
And I just think the Bengals are 0-2. It's been a disaster of a start for them. Burrow has not looked good. He hasn't looked himself. I am really curious if they don't necessarily IR him, but they tell Joe, take a couple weeks off. Like, listen, this season might be a write-off, but we don't want to butcher your career. And I'm kind of hoping that he sits out on, unless like by some Christmas miracle, his calves, like I said, it's the whole Christmas miracle stuff. His calves just like, it's actually good now. But they felt the same thing with Aaron Rodgers, right? And then he goes and pops his fucking Achilles. So, Joe, please sit out. I would rather you sit out a couple of games. I love Joe Burrow so much. I don't want to see him get his career ruined over a first few weeks of the season because of a calf injury. It wouldn't be fun.
No. And I'm going to stick in the same division. The Baltimore Ravens. They look like they could be legit as long as they stay healthy.
I told you. I don't know if Lamar's... Well, I mean, we'll see. My Lamar MVP pick might not stand. I don't know yet. But they're really good. I think they're dark horse Super Bowl. I wouldn't even say dark horse. Like, they're like up there for the Super Bowl this year, I think. Wouldn't shock me if the AFC Championships like Chiefs, Ravens. That'd be pretty exciting.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. And on the other conference, the Dallas Cowboys. Are they legit or are they frauds? I know they beat the Giants 40-0, blanked them on Sunday Night Football Week 1. Then they got that game against the Jets where they won 38-10 or whatever it was.
Yeah. I would say I lean more towards they're a good team that ends up becoming frauds in the playoffs. And that's how I've always felt about Dallas.
The usual Cowboys rhetoric, yeah.
They're the regular season legends. And then they hit the playoffs and they're shit. That's been the Dallas story for basically forever. It's why they get memed on so much. They always do so well in the regular season, and then playoffs come around, and we're eliminated in the wild card round or the divisional round or whatever.
And for the record, they have Arizona this week, so they're going to go 3-0.
You would hope so. If you're a Cowboys fan, if you lose that game, you're like, okay, fuck.
And we have the Cowboys next week. Fuck.
Yeah, fuck.
What else is
That's
going
the way I look at
on? The Bills, I mean, they beat the Raiders by that huge score, but I'm still not a huge believer in them.
Yeah,
And you know me, I said week 1, I think Miami's winning this division. I believe that I said that. I said that Miami was going to take the W in the AFC East.
I still think Buffalo will come away with the division, just based on the fact that I think they're the best overall football team. But yeah, Josh Allen, man,
Little hint of regression, maybe a little bit of drinking his own Kool-Aid. Maybe,
week 1, Josh Allen was, because I wasn't here last week. Josh Allen was an embarrassment week 1. That is one of the worst quarterback performances I've ever seen, man. Like, what were you? This dude was like hawking hero balls versus like Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and like all the Jets DBs, man. Like, what are you doing? And oh wow, you beat up on the Raiders. The Raiders are a freaking bleh team.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't want to rule it out just yet because Buffalo has been the kings of the East lately. But man, I would love to see their downfall.
Oh yeah. Imagine we sweep the series against them this year.
Oh fuck.
The vibes are gonna be unreal. Like imagine Mac goes into Buffalo, fucking 350 yards and 4 scores.
Hey, if you want me to believe in Mac Jones again, Mac, go into Buffalo and rip their souls out. There. I'll take back everything I said today if you go in there and kill Buffalo. I might pop bottles on the show. That's my Super Bowl now. We're a sorry organization now, so I'll pop bottles if we beat those clowns in Buffalo. Yay us!
In Buffalo too. You don't get that Mickey Mouse win in Gillette. You gotta go into Orchard Park, and get that job done.
Yeah.
But any other thoughts league wide before we move on?
Yeah. You know what? You brought up the Giants.
Okay.
Cool comeback win. Don't care. Frauds.
Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
What?
You want to expand on that a little bit? It might be a clip.
Okay. Week 1, you play a real team. What happens?
40-0 blanked. Yeah.
Week 2, you're getting your asses whooped at halftime to the Cardinals.
Josh Dobbs.
Cool comeback win. I don't care. They're not that good of a football team. And it expands back to, and I like Brian Daboll as a coach. I've never been a Daniel Jones guy. I look at how the Giants have drafted over the years with Dave Gettleman, and I don't think Joe Schoen he hasn't really been the best either at it. Just looking at how Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal have panned out for them. They're just not a great overall football team, and it's the consequences of why, like, you need to, you're never going to bat 1,000 on the draft, but these guys need to, the Giants are really looking like the consequences of dog shit drafting is really taking a hit on them. And if you're going to want to see like Daniel Jones elevate himself, which I don't think he's that kind of talent to really elevate, and yeah, I know the comeback win. I don't care. Like I said, you need to be able to have a consistent supporting cast around the guy, and the Giants supporting cast around the guy is just not great still. And I stand on that. And I like Darren Waller a lot. I like Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley just got hurt. Saquon Barkley's shown he's not the most durable running back anymore. Darren Waller, awesome football player, also not the most durable tight end in the league.
And they have no wide receivers worth a damn.
Yeah. Who's your receiver one there?
Jalen Hyatt. Isaiah Hodgins. Darius Slayton.
And their defense, Like, I'm not impressed with their defense either. It's just, and that's why I was lower on them. I'm not impressed with the New York Giants. I don't like what they have as a football team. Maybe I'm wrong there too. Maybe I'll look like a total jackass at the end of the year. I don't know. I don't.
I know.
See
There's
it.
a lot of people that really hope you do look like a jackass at the end.
I'm sure. Yeah, listen, we got some Giants fans that listen to us. You know, they're friends of you. They're friends of me, I guess. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to, obviously, like, the Giants ruined my childhood twice. Fuck them.
I was too young to give a shit about those two. I was like,
they ruined my childhood. I didn't say they ruined yours. They ruined mine.
I wasn't even 5 in 2000 that Super Bowl. I was like a month away from turning 5. I was too busy like playing with Legos and shit. And then 2011, I watched that game. I remember being pretty invested, but like when they lost, it didn't like kill me. The Eagles Super Bowl though, the Eagles Super Bowl is what really haunts me.
Fuck that game.
500 yards from Tom Brady.
But hot take: losing the Super Bowl sucks.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not a fun experience to watch your team lose in the biggest game.
And shut up to all the fans that say, well, at least you got there.
I hate that because, like, yeah, but it's like climbing to like the top of the mountain and then you get pushed off and die.
Well, at least you got to the top.
No. It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. I've always hated that. Well, you got next year at least. Yeah, and next year everybody on this team can fucking like, I hate to sound like Kyle Shanahan when he had that doomer moment. He's like, the world might not exist tomorrow.
Jimmy Garoppolo might not be alive on Saturday.
You're talking about next year? Oh my god, I hated that shit so much. I'm like,
something else we hate. Something else we hate. The New York Jets. The Patriots are going to MetLife this weekend. A team that hasn't beaten Bill Belichick's squad since the Obama administration, December 2015. We've gone through 2 presidential terms, almost 3, and I don't know.
The Jets.
Obviously, the Jets. Oh no, it's only 2. It's only 8 years. Only 8 years. My fault.
It's been
a while.
Trump, Biden. So
it's been a while. Obviously, the Jets have declined drastically since the loss of quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Zach Wilson is not the guy, but you can never count out an AFC East game. So, what are the 3 keys to come away from this game with a win? Let's start with you.
Okay. First key. Obviously, we know Zach Wilson will gift basket to you. Until New England, until Zach Wilson could prove he could beat you, continue just, play aggressive against the guy. Force him to make mistakes. And if he beats you, he beats you. But that's the game plan, man. You got to defensively, you got to go in there and force him to make some dumb throws, force him to, beat you with his arm. And decision making, I should say. Number 2, speaking of decision making, Mac Jones. Make good decisions. This Jets secondary is no joke, obviously. Arguably the best in football. You got guys like Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed roaming around. Don't be a superhero. Don't play stupid. Make the right decisions. These aren't guys to fuck with. Number 3, speaking of the Jets defense, O-line. You cannot let Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers, Bryce Huff, Jermaine Johnson, all these beasts. Speaking of
John Franklin Myers, he gifted us that game last year in MetLife with that roughing the passer call. It was like a pick 6 that Mac threw, and then it was a roughing the passer call. We got it right back, and we got like a touchdown on a field goal. Yeah.
Listen, it'd be awesome if he gift basketed another stupid decision, but
it's John Franklin Myers. He's pretty good. He's pretty good at that gift basket thing.
He is, but he's also an awesome football player, though.
He is
one of the more underrated overall football players in the league.
He's just dumb.
The O-line. You go. We obviously look at decision making. That factors into it. You need to give Mac a little more time to operate. If you can't, well, this might be a shit show of a game.
Like the 3-0, 6-0
Yeah,
game, whatever it was, 10-3.
Maybe we need Marcus Jones to have another superhero moment and bail us out in the last.
Who is hurt, by the way, Marcus Jones.
Yeah.
Like Bill Belichick, I think, said today
Marcus
he
Jones,
might not even play.
Marcus Jones is going to come out there like Greg Jennings.
Carry the team on his back, yeah. I think Mikey's pretty much aligned with you. I think the only thing that I would add is getting Trent Brown back.
Yeah.
Get him out in the fucking field. We just paid you $2 million in incentives. And then get the run game going. Ramondre.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Come through huge. Zeke, I don't care if it's you, dude. Come through. Let's get Mac a little bit of breath. Stop throwing it 50 times a game. If you're throwing it 50 times a game at Sauce Gardner, at the guys you just mentioned, bad news.
Yeah.
So I think I'll give 2. You have your 3. That makes 5. We got an even number. Anything else before we go to our lovely closing segment?
No, I think we kind of nailed it. Play smart football. Don't let the Jets beat you. And let Zach Wilson try to superhero it against you.
Let Zach cook.
Get basketed.
Let Zach cook. Yes.
Yeah.
And
hey, if Zach Wilson fucking beats us, whatever. The game is the game. You let a shitty QB beat you, whatever. They happened with Blake Bortles one time here, if you remember.
Oh God.
Yeah. And it was the right strategy though. Let Blake Bortles try to beat you, and fuck, credit to him, he beat you. Game is the game. I can't hate it.
But obviously, we have our week 3 pick'em. Ryan didn't give his results on air, but he did give it to me in text. Ryan and I again tied with 10 games correct, but Ryan wins again on the tiebreaker of the points total. So we're on to week 3, and without further ado, let's talk week 3. Week 1, Thursday Night Football. We have the New York Giants traveling to San Francisco to take on the Niners. Ryan, who you got in this game and why?
San Francisco. Better overall football team. And I do know Brandon Ayuk is a game-time decision, but the Giants are missing Saquon Barkley. So I just think San Francisco will win that one.
You don't think there's going to be a Matt Breida revenge game?
Let Breida cook. No, I think the 49ers are just a way better football team.
I'm with you. Tennessee goes to Cleveland, goes to the Dog Pound to take on censor quarterback and the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Ryan, who you got in that game?
This is such a bad football game. You would assume at one point a certain quarterback in Cleveland gets it together, but it's looking. I should have brought this up in the NFL segment. It's been brutal for the guy.
Not great. Yeah, not great.
You know what? Give me Tennessee.
I'm right there with you.
Game, but give me Tennessee. Nick Chubb being out really.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Tennessee, I think, better coached. Quarterbacks are playing about even lately, and yeah. I really think it's just going to come down to the smarter football team, and I think that's Tennessee.
Yeah.
The Falcons, 2-0, head to Ford Field to take on the Lions, who dropped to Seattle last weekend. Who you got in that matchup?
I got Detroit. I'm not sold on Atlanta still.
When Desmond Ridder is your quarterback, I'm not picking you.
Yeah.
Ever.
They could go 17-0. I still probably would be like, I don't know.
Yeah, no. They're a great team that has a shitty coach and a quarterback that I'm not sold on.
They drafted 3 Lamborghinis in the first round, and they used them like Priuses.
It's unbelievable. Up next, the New Orleans Saints, victorious in Charlotte the other night. They go to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. Who you got in that one? Then the Packers obviously choked the Falcons last weekend.
He's really impressed me. Give me my guy Jordan Love in the Green Bay Packers.
We continue to not disagree. I agree. I like Derek Carr and the Saints, but they did absolutely nothing last week. Absolutely nothing.
That was a brutal game on Monday, man.
Both games were just awful.
Yeah. To tell the truth, I turned it off at like halftime. I was so bored.
Me too. I made sure my bet hit and I moved on. The Broncos lost a real tough one. That's a tough pill to swallow, losing to the Commanders at home. They're going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. What do you got?
I got Miami. Denver, man. I don't.
I think
was
now. I think it's
optimistic about
becoming.
them.
I think it's becoming clear that it's not. They don't have the talent, and last year was mostly about coaching.
Yeah,
Because last year, those games aren't even close.
yeah. I think it's Miami wins it.
I agree, and I think Miami's the best team in the division. The Chargers, 0-2. They head to Minnesota to take on the 0-2 Vikings. Both these teams are due for a win. Who do you got?
Therefore, it'll be a tie. No.
That's a Vikings game right there for you.
Yeah.
They tied to the Chargers.
Dude, it's Chargers Vikings. We're gonna see some levels of shithousery that is like unattained, like not humanly possible. I think Minnesota's the better football team than the Chargers are. I think the Vikings win.
Like I said, I think the Chargers are going to bottom out this year, and it's looking like I'm right after 2 weeks.
Fire Brandon Staley.
Fire
Get my
him
guy
now.
Justin Herbert a real coach, please.
We are going to skip Patriots and Jets for last. The Bills, they're going to Washington to take on the 2-0 Commanders. Who do you got in this one?
Honestly, man, Washington's been way better than I thought they'd be. And credit to Sam Howell, credit to Eric Bieniemy. That offense has looked amazing. With that being said, Buffalo is just a way better overall football team.
Yeah,
this is kind of a litmus test for Buffalo. If you lose this game, there's going to be some takes to be had.
And they will be had here. The Texans, they're going to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. I think CJ Stroud had a pretty impressive game last weekend. But the Jaguars kept up with Kansas City. So, what do you think about this game?
I think the Jaguars are way better overall football team than the Texans are. I've really loved what CJ Stroud's done the past 2 weeks, man. He's been impressive. But Houston, as an overall football team, is just not there yet. Jacksonville, they should be hitting their stride. This is another one of those where, like, Jacksonville, if you lose this, there are conversations to be had.
Up next, Anthony Richardson. I don't know if he's going to play. He's going to Baltimore to take on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. What do you got with this one?
Come on, we know the answer, especially if Anthony Richardson's not playing. Baltimore.
Yeah. Panthers, they dropped one to New Orleans on Monday night. They're going to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. This game, I think, is going to be surprisingly close.
Yeah. I would probably have to say Seattle.
Yeah, I did too.
Looks like my Carolina take might be wrong. Oh, well.
What do you know?
They're not good.
The latest bust in the NFL conversations, Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, they're going to Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs. I think this game, too, is going to be close, but not because of the talent. It's because Patrick Mahomes doesn't have any receivers to work with. That being said, I took Kansas City.
I saw a stat today. The quarterback with the highest winning percentage in NFL history is playing the quarterback with the lowest winning percentage in NFL history. This is literally David versus Goliath.
Yeah, no kidding.
With that being said, give me Goliath.
Dallas, they're going to Arizona, take on the Cardinals. The Cardinals, they've looked surprisingly competitive in both games this year, but Dallas is playing really good football. So, what do you think about this one?
Listen, it'd be peak Cowboys to lose this one, but Dallas will win this, I think.
We continue to have the same picks top to bottom. Please change it with this one. The Steelers, they're headed to Vegas to take on my boy, Jimmy G and the Raiders. Maybe no Devontae Adams. I'm not sure if I heard anything on that yet, but that's the game in Vegas. Sunday Night Football. Who do you got?
Can I just say, who scheduled this for Sunday night?
Yeah, you got to get the bad teams out of the way.
That being said, Pittsburgh.
There you go. There's the change up.
All right.
Any particular reason?
Well, I just think Pittsburgh's defense is elite enough to win. And obviously, like, their offense is a clown show. And, I mean, Najee Harris, Wolf.
Looks like he's running through mud every game.
Yeah, not good. Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Up next, the Eagles. They're going to Tampa to take on the 2-0 Buccaneers. Holy crap, never thought I'd hear that.
Was Tom Brady the problem?
Yeah, was he? Was Tom Brady a leader of toxic offense?
No, the obvious problem was a certain offensive coordinator that got fired. Now Bucs have a real offense again.
So, Eagles and Tampa, who do you got?
With that being said, Philadelphia will snap the Bucs winning streak there.
Up next, a Super Bowl 50, what is this, 55 rematch?
56.
The Rams and the Bengals. This time in Cincinnati and not SoFi. Who do you got in this one?
It depends on if Burrow is playing. I
assume that he is.
Assume that Burrow's playing. I think the Bengals win. I kind of want to be determined this one, bro.
No, don't be a pussy. Pick. Don't be a wuss.
Well, because if Burrow's not playing, it's Jake Browning.
Don't be a wuss. I'm not changing my pick.
You know what? I'm gonna take the Rams then, because I don't think Burrow's playing on Monday.
What are the points? What's the score?
It'll be 35-3 Rams, because Jake Browning is terrible.
So a grand total of 38 points.
Yeah.
I said Cincy. I'm assuming that Burrow is playing. I got a 52 score. I think I said like 31-20. Like, I don't believe in this Rams team. I don't. But
the Rams aren't good, but
we saved this game for last.
Would be a disaster.
We saved this game for last. The New England Patriots, 0-2, heading to the Jets, who are 0-2. Who gets their first win here and why?
The Patriots.
Why?
Zach Wilson is not good at football.
He's like the anti-Tua. We beat his ass every time. Yeah.
Until he proves otherwise, I'm just going to assume he's the human gift basket.
He is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. So, yeah, give me the Patriots. I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs this year.
Nope. I thought so when Rodgers was there, but
if Rodgers was playing, give me Jets all day long, but he's not. So,
dude, if Rodgers was playing, I'd be scared shitless.
It'd be like a clown show for the Patriots.
We'd lose 38-23. That'd be the score. Unbelievable. But those are our picks. Ryan's not allowed to change it. And neither am I.
Lock it in. Fuck it. Send it in.
Those are the picks. We'll come back next week and come out with that. Maybe I'll come out with the first one of the goddamn season instead of fucking tying with you every time. But we thank you for joining us for this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. We'll see you all next time, and make sure you like, subscribe, follow on Facebook. Make sure you interact with all of our posts, and specifically that Mac Jones one that got everybody so upset, and tell everybody why I'm right. That being said, we will see you all next week. Go Pats.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro BeatCast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.